Okay, to be honest, I'm just gonna record a bunch of stuff and then I'm gonna see what survives the editing room. I don't presume to edit this a lot, but maybe after I listen to this, after a while, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, what was I thinking about? In the meantime, hi, hello, Maripe here. Welcome to Maripe's Pockets. I think I mentioned this channel being. I don't remember anymore. Anyway, how's it going, guys? This is the start of 2026. And it's been pretty chaotic if you really think about it. Well, I guess you don't have to think about it, you only have to see it happen. But still, it's been pretty chaotic considering other years. I was pretty young back then, and I wasn't really thinking when it was the crisis of 2008. But, like, I don't know. We're living through very interesting times. I think I mentioned this in the last video. I haven't really seen it, to be honest, after that. But uh, what I'm trying to say here is that we need to celebrate the explorer of this world a little bit more. Well, you mean like there's nothing for a little bit of context. Um, I'm not super happy with this mention, and I used to agree with this when I was younger because I understand the feeling. Like I'm too young to um, explore the stars. I'm too young to explore the earth, so there's nothing for me to do. Like when I was young, yes, I fully agree with this because I was like, oh my god, well, even if I travel the sea, there's nothing for me to see. But like, think about it for a little while. What the hell is going on? Because we're repeating a lot of the same mistakes before. And not only that, there's a few of those errors that we keep making, assuming they have to happen. But they don't have to happen. And in this assumption that there's nothing for us to explore anymore, we are giving power to the idea that life cannot change or this is the way it's supposed to be. When, I mean, you gotta look at it's just the most, I guess, the easiest fact to see this and the easiest test control we've seen about it is technology. Look at how much exploded. Oh, technology is the only thing that can explode this fast. That's not entirely true. Yes, evolution doesn't allow us to suddenly explode overnight and suddenly have three horns, three limbs. Well, I guess it can allow you to have three limbs. What I mean, an extra pair of hands or thumbs between the thumbs. That sounds horrible, by the way, but you know. Anyway, the point is, like, yes, technology keeps exploding, and in a matter of way, it just is the exponential proof of that we are constantly changing. We are constantly things to be better, to grow, to keep satisfying us in different ways. And this idea that we have explored everything there is to see is just a logical fallacy to make us give up the idea that we are not satisfied where we're currently right now. And I get it. I really do. When I was young and I was like, oh my god, there's everything there is to know, but there isn't. And now more than ever is the proof that we don't know everything and therefore we are always susceptible to misinformation. Just look at your grandparents, or any other individual that you know, they are currently falling for the fallacy that AI is unstoppable. And you can see by how they share AI generated images, AI slop, misinformation with generated with AI. Hell, even some of us who have been in the internet when it was born and when they were the whole campaigns, watch out when you go to the internet, otherwise you might find a bad guy there. Never trust what you find there. So, um, I mean, I'm still kind of miffed how there were all this information campaign, how the internet is not safe, and now we have AI trying to figure out our age, and you know, AI verifications thing. Ugh, it sucks. This is such a bad way to treat the internet. But it makes sense because every time something explodes and we want to understand that the next thing to place I suppose, limits in it is to control it. Because when you want to understand, you have to control it. Otherwise, you're gonna be unable to understand it. So it's I'm pretty sure it's a paradox for scientists whenever they say, like, for us to know how to measure something, first there needs to be a limit, and it's difficult to place a limit on something where you don't know where it starts or where it ends, right? So this is where we tend to unite together and be like, hey, I tried to do this method and do that to measure the length of a centimeter. And then we all share our data and be like, oh my God, yes, this is based on the data, how a centimeter measures or something like that. So the point of this video, and I guess this is chapter 2, is to celebrate the explorers. Because especially right now, and I've seen it a lot of work, which really pisses me off, and I'm trying to be very subtle about it. And there is this idea that because AI has been trained so much in what we consider to be right or correct, or it doesn't even actually, we don't even know if it's correct, but because we assume that someone who knows a lot has to be right, and therefore AI who has a lot of information must be right, which is the same, again, logical fallacy the internet had when it started. I see a lot of people asking AI, hey AI, how do I answer this person about this issue? Like, think, man. Oh my gosh. So, this is gonna be an interesting era, especially for the young people, because they have to fight an idea that has been implanted onto us from every possible place we know. The idea that um, we don't have to think. This is a comfortable world, and therefore, to appreciate the comforts of the world we have been given, it's better for us to not think too much about it. Which I say, go to hell. And I'm sorry for cursing, but I feel very passionate about this. What do I mean by this? Well, my gosh, it's just like, whenever you ask AI, hey, can you give me how to say this best answer? And I understand. I have done this too with emails, because sometimes you have a very pissed off customer, and the customer is like, I'm gonna sue you all to the ground, and then I'm gonna find you and dox you and kill you, which is very extreme. And then you have two options. A, you either ban him, which you have to go through 5 loopholes. Well, not even loopholes. You have to go through the bureaucracy process of finding all the available leaders and tell that leader, hey man, this is what happened us. Please help me. And they're like, well, I'm sure you can de-escalate this. So then you're freaked to hell. And so what's the next step? Well, you then ask AI, so then I'd be like, hey AI, can you help me write an empathetic email to tell this user to thank you for the patience and to please keep cooperating with us, as we're soon to give them the money that they want based on their credit or something like that. Um, and it's great, then you have an answer. But that's the thing, you know? When every time I do it, it's because something in me says like, "Holy shit, I don't care enough," and I try my best to care. I really do. And even at work, they tell me like, "Oh my god, you have to stop, otherwise you're gonna burn out yourself." To that I say, maybe I will, but at least I'm caring somehow. So every time I do this email, it's because I don't want the responsibility of saying something bad to the person that would eventually go back to me. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter, because no matter how you look at it, I'm still the one responding to that person. So therefore, I am the only one responsible for how I answer to that person. So it doesn't matter if AI answers for me. Sure, it's a good enough respite of, oh, at least I didn't have to deal with someone threatening to dox me. That's cool and all. But the responsibility is still there. And sure, Maybe we're gonna reach the LinkedIn levels of Slack where everyone's answering with their AI bots and trying to get as many leads as possible, and therefore we start thinking like, oh, this is probably AI. But you know what I've seen? You know what I've seen is that even when people try to reach us, and then we have to answer with the courteous way of "Thank you for contacting us. What can I help you with?" The first thing they ask, is, "Are you AI?" Because we don't trust AI. That's the reality of it. So every time we depend upon AI or any other thing like the internet has been so far to give us the idea of what to think and what to do, we are falling prey upon the idea that there's nothing for us left to search, left to explore, left to find, left to solve, left to hell. There's no like the idea that there's no that we found all the ways to make the same mistake. It's absurd because you know what? I have seen all the teenagers make the same mistake all over again about believing this lie, and they do it in very different ways. One of them they get depressed, and others people try to find an answer, and other people try to prove this wrong. Some other people threaten to violence because the reality of it is too much to bear, and I completely understand. Yes, we should not make the world more lonely. This shouldn't be the answer. And our brains will try to keep convincing us that this is the answer. Why? Because it's wired to make us feel like any extra effort that we make, it's a waste of energy. But you know what we have in space right now? Energy. Because there's so much to do. And there's not enough people who believe that there is. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this video is a little bit hypocritical because well, not only am I here to express an opinion, but I'm hoping that if you are listening to this, you might change your mind too. Or at the very least, thank you for listening to my huge ass rant because goddamn, I feel so passionate about this topic, and it made me so angry to see a coworker be like answering AI and then oh cheeky being like, "Well, I'm trusting the answers that you're giving me." Like, my guy, think, because I will not be responsible about what you say. Yes, I will be responsible about the information I tell you, and yes, I will take responsibility if that information turns out to be wrong, which it wasn't. But I will take responsibility if that happens. But right now, you are the one who's responsible about what you say. So, shout out to all the people who keep exploring, and it doesn't matter how it is. Because right now, there is indeed a wealth of information, and that wealth of information wants our brain to convince us that it is impossible to break through. It doesn't matter what we do if we won't see a change. But you know what? It will. And I've also seen this at work. It will not change the larger narrative, will not change the people in charge because they don't care to listen enough. They can't, because otherwise they're not going to be rich. But you know who will change? The people who sit by you as you get shouted by another customer who threatens to get you fired. It will change the people who care enough to listen, and we're looking for answers anyway at the beginning, and we're looking for someone to be like, oh my god, even if I don't agree, I understand. And that makes a whole world of difference. And this is why I started making this channel, because I saw my words have an impact on them. And I thought maybe I am crazy, but I'm just crazy enough for someone to listen, you know? So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if it peaked right there. I keep whenever I get too passionate, my voice keeps increasing in volume, and oh my god. Anyway, welcome to the second episode of Merpy Pockets. If you have any other topics you want me to rant about or talk really strongly about, maybe if I'm passionate enough about them, I will speak them. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day. May your bed sheets be warm or cold wherever part of the world you're in right now. And thank you for having the curiosity to explore right now. We need a lot of people like you, and we need them to be brave enough to try and to make mistakes. I get the fear. And hell, actually, comment down below what you've been doing different, because currently what I'm doing different is to promote myself on the internet and to be bold enough to say, yes, I am a high value individual which you can pay money to, because I am a goddamn freelancer in design. So it's rough out there, but we can find a rough time together. So, hell, if you comment below, I will read it and maybe we could chat about it, or I will mention it in the next episode. But in the meantime, have a lovely rest of your day. Bye bye.